left, final title.
The greatest motorsport show on earth is back. Spectacular action played out against stunning backdrops. It's man and machine against Mother Nature. The world's best drivers against the planet's toughest terrain. Tarmac, gravel, ice and snow. Teamwork is key, on board and in support. The aim, as ever, to be the quickest team through a series of stages over a number of days. Simple as that. Welcome to the 2013 World Rally Championship. It all starts with the most famous rally of all, steeped in tradition and rich history. Rally Monte Carlo, typically featuring treacherous wintry conditions and plenty of high drama. This year is no different. The man who's dominated the sport for the past decade is here, Sebastian Loeb, 9-time world champion. But he won't be winning the title again this year. We'll tell you why.
I'm happy to be here, but for sure it's no big pressure, no real goal, just having fun.
For others, it's more serious. Volkswagen enter the championship with a big budget and high hopes. After months of testing, can they deliver on the big stage?
If Volkswagen goes into a sport, they go into a sport to win.
And getting to grips with Monte Carlo's treacherous tracks, the right tyre choice can make or break your weekend. We'll find out why one top driver's trusting his dad to make the right calls.
For him it's easy, because if he has the wrong tyre choice, he blame it on me.
All that and more coming up, along with the very best of the action from the world-famous Rally Monte Carlo. It's the beginning of a worldwide adventure that will take us to 13 different locations in 4 continents during the coming 10 months. From Mexico to Argentina and Australia, all part of a journey which starts and ends in Europe. The opening round split into 2 parts. The first 2 days based in the Valence area north of Monte Carlo, before they head south to tackle some of the most notorious stages in the world. Plenty of snow and ice, 468 competitive kilometres, 18 stages in all. A gruelling event to start the season. Well, 2013 sees a massive boost to the sport with the arrival of one of the world's major manufacturers, and they mean business. In recent years, WRC has been dominated by 2 factory teams, Citroën and Ford. But now there's another big hitter on the block. Enter Volkswagen with their own all-new World Rally contender. The VW Polo R has been months in the making, hours of painstaking research and development before the transition from drawing board to test track. The car put through its paces over some 20,000 kilometres under the guidance of 2-time world champion Carlos Sainz. VW are serious, signing a top driver lineup. Frenchman Sébastien Ogier and the Finn Jari-Matti Latvala, both proven WRC winners. Make no mistake, VW are in it to win it.
If Volkswagen goes into a sport, they go into a sport to win. But they also know how difficult it is to come as a newcomer in a sports where really successful established manufacturers are in. And so we get the time to build the team up, to develop the car. For this year, the target is to be in the position to get podium positions towards the end of the year.
A gala launch in Monte Carlo signalled VW's intention. But after all the preparation, the testing, the showbiz and the razzmatazz, it was time to get down to the serious business of rallying for real. So how would the Polo R shape up on its debut in one of the toughest events of the season? Time to find out. Sébastien Ogier is at the start line with Paul King, your commentator.
So this is a sight rally fans around the world have been waiting for. The debut of the VW Polo R, a project 17 months in the making, and we're about to find out what this new machine is capable of. We know it's quick. This new Volkswagen capable of 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 3.9 seconds. Top speeds of around 200. Really tricky conditions in Monte Carlo this year. Despite it being dry down here, there is snow and ice ahead, so most have opted for Michelin's studded winter tyre. Ogier will find it tough on these dry sections, racing on tyres designed for snow. Yeah, you can see the ice building as he climbs through these village streets. That's why those studded tyres are needed, biting into the ice to give the car some sort of traction. Whoa, he's all over the road. Exciting stuff from Ogier. Let's have a look at that again. Sliding onto the loose slush, he does well to get the power down quickly, recovers the back of the car. Terrific car control by Sebastian there. He's certainly pushing. After a year away from the sport's top level, the Frenchman clearly desperate to come back with a bang for Volkswagen. On dry asphalt again now. Loeb is the fastest through this opening stage so far. Look at this as Ogier charges on towards the finish. This is going to be very close to Loeb's effort of 27.35.5. He could even beat it. He's done it. What a drive from Ogier. History has been made. An incredible start for Volkswagen.
Sebastian, first stage of the VW, your quickest through so far.
Yeah, it's a good start, but stay calm, it's just the first stage. 460 k's to go. Yeah, it's nothing.
Ogier then determined not to get carried away, but that's an extraordinary debut stage by any standards. More from the VW camp shortly, but the one man you can never discount is the firmly established Sebastian Loeb. Sure enough, in the very next stage, the 9-time world champion turns on the style. Quicker than Ogier by more than 10 seconds to reassert his authority and take the rally lead after the opening skirmishes. Back at the midday service, though, with Ogier in second place, Volkswagen have every reason to be satisfied, surely.
It's good to win the first stage, yeah, and with a new car, new team, and I think it gives us a lot of confidence. It gives the team the confidence that everybody has done a good job over winter preparing the cars. It's more important that the cars went trouble-free, no problems with the cars. The stage win is nice to have, but you can't buy anything from that. So I think we stay focused and calm. And when we get something like that, we take it.
For sure, we are happy, but until you don't have a proper dry stage or something like that, a lot at the moment it's in the tire choice, a lot is in the drivers. When the conditions are so difficult, it's difficult to know exactly where we are, but for sure the car is good and the driver is good.
So, qualified satisfaction for the newcomers. For Sebastian Loeb, this season, in contrast, is destined to be a swan song. He's doing only a handful of rallies after deciding to retire from full-time competition. It means we'll have a new world champion this year for the first time in a decade. But who? Favourite is Loeb's Citroën teammate Mikko Hirvonen, 4-time runner-up in the World Championship. The Finn will be hoping this, at last, is his year. A hugely consistent driver, but struggling to stay in touch with Loeb and Ogier in Rally Monte Carlo's testing conditions. Yanni Sordo's returned to Citroën this year and made a solid enough start in these early stages. An outsider for the title perhaps, the Spaniard is no stranger to the WRC podium though, but Sordo's first target this season is surely to land a maiden rally victory after no fewer than 19 second places. Another outsider, Norwegian Mads Ostberg, team leader at Malcolm Wilson's new Qatar M Sport operation. Ostberg showed his speed last year, taking his first rally victory, but he's still improving as a driver. This, his first Rally Monte Carlo, so he's happy to take it steadily as the weather adds to the challenge in the first phase of the event around Valence. We wouldn't have expected to be talking about Volkswagen as potential champions in their debut season, but given Sébastien Ogier's sensational start here, who knows what they might achieve this year. Ogier knows what it takes to win rallies, already has 7 victories to his name, and on this early form, he has to be a contender. And teammate Jari-Matti Latvala is recognised as one of the most naturally gifted and fastest drivers in the sport. The Finn also has 7 WRC victories to his name, still getting to know the Polo R and sure to find a lot more speed very quickly. The leading protagonist for 2013. Then day one ends with Sébastien Loeb having established a commanding lead, more than 1 minute and 20 seconds ahead of Sébastien Ogier. Then it's Hervenen, Sordo and Latvala. Qatar M Sport teammates Yevgeny Novikov and Mads Ostberg hoping to get stronger in their Fords as the event unfolds. So, the new World Rally Championship is up and running with the promise of a spectator's eye view of all the action all the way. We'll be up close and personal again at Rally Monte Carlo in just a moment. The Valence area in the southern reaches of France. All is relatively calm and quiet. But once a year, the locals brace themselves for some colourful visitors as the streets come alive to the sights and sounds of World Rally cars, always sure to capture the attention and turn a few heads. Welcome back to the opening round of the World Rally Championship, being played out against a picture postcard setting after fresh snow here at Rally Monte Carlo, where Sebastian Loeb is about to get day 2 underway in the company of commentator Paul King.
And what an opening leg it was for the Citroën Maestro. The Frenchman starts with that dominant lead of more than 1 minute and 20 seconds. Monte's back underway, and as Loeb fires through the gears of the DS3, let's take a moment to take in these conditions. It's dry at the moment, but there is a heavy snow covering to come. Michelin's studded snow tyres will be the order of the day once again as Loeb begins his climb back into the French mountains. Despite the sunshine, black ice also again a constant danger in these twisty tarmac roads. Sebastian and co-driver Daniel Elena chased all the way by our eye in the sky. Also chasing the leader hard is Volkswagen Sebastian Ogier, and just look at the conditions through here. Believe it or not, this is the same stage, and a big slide for Loeb's compatriot, right on the limit of grip at times. Despite running on studded tyres, just staying on the road will be challenge enough. The end of this 19-kilometre stage is fast approaching, the road completely covered in ice and snow ahead. The start of the flying finish will be marked out by the yellow boards. Look at the clock here, he could beat Loeb again. There's the yellow boards. And here comes the red to mark the finish. Yes, another incredible time for the new VW Polo. Ogier 5 seconds quicker, so a small dent made in Loeb's huge lead at least. Bit of a slide there for Evgeny Novikov. There is at least one man who seems to be enjoying himself out there. We have classic Monte conditions in 2013. The Russian Rocket, another who is no stranger to racing on snow. Really narrow through here, no margin for error whatsoever. Austrian co-driver Ilka Miner alongside. She's warning of something up ahead. And Evgeny's off the road. Well, he is a lucky boy there. I think he's escaped, made it as off. So let's take another look. Just loses all traction on the ice as he starts to slide. Again from inside. So lucky there was nothing on the road verge to damage the car. Now rejoining Sebastian Ogier, fresh from his second stage win in the Volkswagen Polo. The snow absolutely chucking it down. But it has been a dream debut so far for the Frenchman's new machine. This state-of-the-art car looking blisteringly quick straight out of the box. Oh, but I might have spoken too soon. A spin for Ogier. Thankfully, no harm done. Taking another look, you can see the moment about there. He loses the back of the car in the slide. Thankfully, just bumping into a snowbank. Sebastian remains in second place despite that delay. And just look at this view of the snow-covered landscape. We've joined Ogier's teammate, Jari-Matti Latvala. He's had a frustrating start to the day after losing some ground earlier, but this is looking like an aggressive response from the Flying Finn. Latvala literally throwing his new Volkswagen through the snow-covered corners. This is brave stuff from Jari, considering the lack of grip. That's a much better drive from VW's finished start.
I think it's a fantastic coming almost 200 kilometers per hour to the final braking when you have thousands of people on there, and there was new fresh snow on the snow or on the road, and you come completely sideways through the snow, and I think it was a fantastic for the people as well. So, but no, it's great stage.
The man of the moment, though, on this second morning is Evgeny Novikov. The 22-year-old is absolutely flying despite driving in this almost complete whiteout. Ready up to 5th place, he's closed right up on Mikko Hirvonen in 4th. If he can maintain this pace, he could make it past Citroen's #1. Yes, that is 2 stage wins in a row for Novikov. He climbs above Mikko on the leaderboard.
So, confirmation that burst of speed from Evgeny Novikov has seen him move up the leaderboard from 6th to 4th, overtaking Finns Mikko Hirvonen and Jari-Matti Latvala in the process. And there's more to come from the young Russian. But first, we rejoin 2nd place Sébastien Ogier, also pushing hard in the new VW Polo.
Already on his way into the 19 kilometres of stage 8, and Seb has made it very clear he's not bothered about taking the fight to low with his compatriot out of the championship hunt. 2nd position would do just fine, thank you very much. This is the 2nd pass through this stretch of road, so there should be less loose snow to negotiate, but make no mistakes, driving at these speeds on ice is incredibly tough. Caution needed through the really slippery patches as well. And we've seen many a driver clip these narrow bridges on the Monte over the years. Ogier slower than Loeb again, but that will not bother the Frenchman one bit.
Sebastian, obviously Loeb has a big lead. It's a chance in the 2nd run to try and take some time back.
No.
Why?
Because it's never been the plan, and it will never be the plan. But you can ask me all the time if you want.
We haven't seen much from Dani Sordo so far, but the Spanish sensation has fought his way into the podium positions, and he seems determined to hold on. As we heard earlier, 19 times Dani's finished as a runner-up in WRC competition. Back with Citroën in 2013. Surely this is his year to claim that maiden win. Getting good support there as well. And Dani's just 2.8 seconds slower than the rally leader in stage 8. We're not far from the end of this challenging 2nd leg, and that fight for 4th is still raging. Mikko Hirvonen's been struggling with understeer though, so a hard charging Evgeny Novikov is able to pull away slightly. Full snow again here. The Qatar M Sport man is the leading Ford driver. Continues to set a scintillating pace as the day draws to a close. With Hirvonen's threat slipping away, the young Russian has already turned his attentions to the man in 3rd.
We pushed more on this stage, and I will push the next one, and we will fight with Dani, and no question, maximum.
The Spaniard has been warned then. Yevgeny has him in his sights. Only 15 seconds separating the battle for 3rd place. Behind the two Sebastians, Loeb more than a minute and a half ahead of Ogier. Sordo a further minute behind them. A very good day's work from Novikov, pulling clear of a trio of Finns, Hirvonen, Latvala and Hänninen. The Russian determined to maintain that push tomorrow. But the man to watch right now is world champion Sebastian Loeb. A sublime display of driving, no matter what the elements could throw at him, illustrating his unrivaled mastery, whatever the conditions. Loeb in command and seemingly well on his way to a 7th and very possibly last Rally Monte Carlo victory before he retires. Let's sit back and enjoy the master in action while we still can. The most successful and for many finest rally driver ever, Sebastian Loeb in full flow. A joy to watch. Okay, we're at the midway point in proceedings with some massive tests yet to come. Next we head south for the first of Monte Carlo's infamous stages, the return of the mighty Cisteron. That's coming right up. And welcome back to Rally Monte Carlo, one of the most challenging events in world motorsport. High mountain passes, twisty cliff edge roads, all on a menacing mixture of tarmac, snow and ice. A daunting prospect for the most experienced rally campaigner. For a Monte Carlo rookie, it must be terrifying. Norwegian Mads Olsberg is one such novice, but he does have Father Morten here, providing valuable information about the road conditions as his Ice Note support crew.
Definitely a big challenge. I think, as we have seen already, weather is changing a lot. You have snow, you have milder weather, and the snow gets all slushy, and you have some tarmac bits as well. So it's just changing a lot from minute to minute, basically, and you will definitely have a lot of different challenges to go maybe on the snow with slick tires and on dry tarmac with snow tires. So you will end up in many different situations. Some stages you start a bit further down, you have a nice clean road without snow and ice. Okay, the wet is quite okay. You can see the wet and you can feel it, but when you have the black ice, you are not able to see it, and you need to feel that. And with the ice crew going through, they will spot those places, hopefully, and can report them into the pace note. Hopefully, yeah.
Certainly.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I will trust you find them.
In the changing road conditions here, tyre choice is crucial. 3 types available: slicks for clean tarmac, winter tyres for snow, and full studded sets when the going gets particularly slippery. Getting it right is easier said than done, with conditions changing from one corner to the next.
Starting on the low level in 5 degrees plus, and you go up to the top and you have 5 degrees minus. So that's the tricky thing, actually. But for him it's easy, because if you have the wrong tire choice, he blame it on me.
Nice to have someone to blame it on, you know.
If it stays like this, and if it is like we have now been told, I think we have winter roads. Then it's up to us to try and spot where the grip is more than actually where the ice is. And then, okay, like Mats says, there are sometimes ice under the snow, so we need to try to do that as well.
We are a good team, and he wants me to do the best, and for sure he will make all the marks on ice and things like that, because he probably don't want me to crash either. So I'm sure he will do a good job, and we enjoy working like this.
At just 25 years old, Mads is M Sport's new #1. He couldn't have started with a tougher event.
It's a big challenge for me, and a big step into going into a team like this and be a #1 driver. So I think this probably isn't the rally I wanted to start with. The team and everyone understands that competing in a rally, especially like this for the first time, you need to learn things. You need to just try to experience as much as possible, and I think they understand that I'm not here to push for a win. I'm here to finish the rally and hopefully get some good points.
Here it's only one thing that counts, is that do your own rally and take it to the limit where you can feel is your limit, not above that.
You think it's better to start here than in Sweden?
Yeah, because in Sweden you would probably win, so then you have the pressure for the next rally. So it's better to comp 5 here and then win in Sweden.
It's been a tough start for Mads' first Monte mission. This year's seen some of the worst weather here for a decade. Getting the right tyres and driving style in the constantly changing conditions has been a real baptism of fire. Osberg is languishing down in 9th and not happy.
We are losing so much time, and I feel like I'm driving okay, and I see the splits. I try to push a bit more, and I'm not able to keep the line. It's just I have no idea what to do. We are like starters. I mean.
Yeah, but you've never been here before, and these are the trickiest conditions we've had for a long time. You're still on the road.
Yeah, that's the only positive.
Well, at least Mads has kept it tidy, with the weather really closing in on Friday morning. For others, staying on the road is proving too great a challenge, as we're about to find out on board now with local privateer Brian Bouffier.
100 mètres. 100 mètres. Gauche 93, tard, coup. Ah non, ah non. Oh la... Sors.
The Frenchman losing it in stage 11 despite those winter tyres. But he's fortunate to get back on the road thanks to a helping hand from nearby rally fans.
You know, I went out and went off, and we were blocked a lot of times. Thanks to the spectators, the photo that easy was there, and they have helped us to continue. So. Big disappointment, but that's it.
Well, one man's frustration is another's opportunity, and it's Osberg who's the main beneficiary. The Norwegian finally making progress by overtaking Bouffier to move up to 8th. So Dad Morten's ice notes becoming ever more crucial. He's already driven the next stage to check on the road conditions ahead, and he awaits in the road section to warn Mads of what the conditions are like.
There is still a lot of slippy areas outside the lines. So the important thing is actually to guide him into the lines, also where he can't see them. So that's what we're doing then, that over crests and things like that, we actually give him the position to go. For example, keep inside or keep outside, or brake outside, brake in the middle, some things like that.
Morten's the former driver himself. On Mads' arrival, he gives him the lowdown on the road ahead. While Morten's co-driver, Olaf Floen, passes the fresh information to Mads' co-driver, Jonas Andersen. He in turn factors the details into his pace notes. Such an important ingredient here as he relays information to Mads ahead of each and every twist and turn. Briefing complete, it's winter tyres all round for Mads. Thanks and goodbye to Dad, and back to the competition. And all that hard work's paid off. Mads is like a new man, right on the pace. So much so, he sets the quickest time here, winning stage 12. Brilliant performance by the Norwegian. It's a much happier Mads in that Fiesta RS now, and an impressive step forward given earlier frustrations.
We are still improving the tarmac driving on snow tires, and the snow driving was quite okay, at least. Struggling a bit a few places, but was quite okay, and I'm pleased with the first stage.
We're all set then for an intriguing afternoon as Paul King takes up the story.
So Mads has been showing improvement, but up ahead, Danny Sordo's third position is beginning to come under pressure from a fired-up Evgeny Novikov. Oh, and I think he's nudged the snowbank. And this is not going to help him hold on to the position. Let's take a look at this replay. You can see the moment he just nudges the snowbank, it tips the car into a spin. We see it all the time in the winter forests of Sweden, not so often in Monte Carlo. And that spin has come at the worst time. There's a real chance for Novikov to continue his dramatic climb up the leaderboard. The 22-year-old Russian slashes the gap to Sordo down to 7.4 seconds. We have a real fight in our hands for the final podium place. At which point it's back to Valence for the final time before the teams relocate to the new service park in Monte Carlo, with the focus on that thrilling scrap for third.
We were still pushing, as I already told, and we will keep going like that. And still a long day tomorrow, but as I already told, we will fight till the end. That's no question.
There's a little spin for Danny in that last stage. Do you think the pressure's getting to him?
Better ask him.
Yeah, for me, to be honest, it's the first Monte Carlo like this, with this condition. I think in Russia it will have more conditions like this than me in Santander in my home. No?
So all very finely poised. This tussle between Sordo and Novikov is the tightest on the leaderboard. The fans are ready and waiting for the competition to resume. So let's get straight back to that battle for the final podium spot. We've joined Sordo a few kilometres in. See how tough this stage is here. The surface, a constant mixture of clear tarmac and snow. Incredibly difficult to judge grip levels again. And that's another mistake by Sordo. Not quite a full spin, but he does come to a halt briefly. With Novikov closing fast, that might be costly. Danny does indeed seem to be feeling the pressure. A couple of minutes down the road, Evgeny Novikov is right on the limit. He is reveling in this fight for position, and he doesn't need asking twice. Novikov storms into third. He's now 8.6 up on Sordo. On to the final stage of the day, and it is a classic. Sisteron is renowned as one of the toughest of this famous old event. And if you need a lesson on how to drive on this treacherous stretch of road, this is the man to ask. Sebastian Loeb, 6 times a winner here in Monte Carlo, and now well on his way to 7. Interestingly, he's opted to use a mixture of slick and studded winter tyres, a compromise to provide grip down here on the dry, but also on the snow to come. Incredible views along the valley. And Seb will lead this rally going into the final leg. A great tyre choice, even if all the studs in his winter tyres have been ripped out by the end.
It was logical to do this tyre choice because we know when it's dry like this, we have to do 30 kilometers on dry surface. If we can use 2 slicks, we have to do it. It's not fun to drive, but for sure it's the fastest.
While Ogier is riding high in second, the Frenchman's VW teammate Jari-Matti Latvala, meanwhile, is still getting to grips with the Polo. Like Loeb, he's opted for a mixture of dry and snow tyres. There are signs of improvement for Jari too, with Mikko Hirvonen hit by overheating brakes. Latvala has the chance to move up to 5th. Let's keep an eye on that clock. That's the stage cleared, and he has passed his compatriot. Latvala really getting to know this Polo R, and like Loeb, the Finn does appear happy with his tyre choice.
Could you have managed it on full slicks?
Would have been very tricky.
Back with our Norwegian friend Osberg again, and he's taken a very different tactic. Mads on all winter tyres. He'll have found the car unstable on the dry asphalt. It should help him through Sisteron's snow-covered heights. Only a few kilometres out of 37 complete snow in here. But look at this. Even on those winter tyres, he's struggling for traction up the hill. Well, that gamble hasn't paid off at all. And on his first Monte Carlo rally, Mads still with plenty to learn, it seems.
How was Sisteron?
Yeah, it was good. Okay, obviously we had the wrong tires on the car. It wouldn't really matter if we were on slicks on the snowy bit. It was absolutely no grip at all. So we did a mistake there, but I think considering driving the whole stage on winter tires, I definitely learned a lot. Towards the end I could push a lot more, and I think I didn't know that, so I understand why I've lost so much time on the previous days on the tarmac, because you can push so hard, and okay, it moves a lot on the tires, but they stabilize, and it's a little bit like driving on gravel, so it's actually very good fun. So yeah, it's been an enjoyable day, and I've learned a lot.
And so have we, Mads. With one day remaining, here's how it looks. Loeb out in front. With Novikov, like Osberg, going for the winter tyre setup, he's lost out and is now just 1.7 seconds ahead of Sordo. Latvala moving past Hervenen into 5th. Further back, Osberg remains in 8th, but can take heart from a big improvement today. Well, this rally isn't just a big challenge for the drivers, it also tests the teams. After 3 days in Valence, the service park is dismantled and transported the 400-kilometre trip to Monte Carlo, where the crowds will be out in force, awaiting a grandstand finale. We'll be there too in just a moment. Welcome back to Rally Monte Carlo. Before we see the dramatic climax to this opening round of the season, let's first catch up with the headlines from the support championships, namely the new look WRC 2 and WRC 3 series. The WRC 2 championship is a new four-wheel drive category featuring turbocharged cars. It replaces the former SWRC class. German Sepp Wiegand was the star turn, taking a dominant victory in his Skoda Fabia. With 14 stage wins out of the 16, on his way to victory by more than 8 minutes. WRC3 is the new two-wheel drive category, another winning Sebastian Citroën combination here. Sebastian Chardonnay in his DS3 taking victory. OK, back to the elite crew now. Final day of Rally Monte Carlo, and if you thought the opening 3 days were tough enough, you haven't seen anything yet. Let's rejoin Paul King.
Thanks, Kevin. And on this 40th anniversary of the start of the World Rally Championship, it's only fitting we take in one of the most famous stages of them all. We are back underway in Monte Carlo, and Sebastian Loeb will be hugely relieved. He's built up such a big lead. He may have taken on this infamous event 9 times, but he will have rarely witnessed conditions like this. And this is at the bottom of the hill as well. Two minutes later, it's Loeb's compatriot and former teammate Sébastien Ogier's turn to take on Torini. Ogier himself has a comfortable advantage. Back to the man in third, and he remains on course to get Volkswagen's WRC debut off to an incredible start, but this will be a nerve-wracking 23 kilometres. Absolutely no grip to be found. Ogier snaking all over the road. The fans getting excited up at the Col as we rejoin Loeb. And just look how much snow is up here. Actually on his way down the other side of the mountain now. Even on the studded Michelin, Seb really struggling in these conditions.
Sebastian, end of the Turini stage. Conditions are incredible. What's it like?
It's undrivable. It's some wet snow. We have no grip at all. We drive like maybe in the straight 30 km per hour. If you go more, you lose the car completely and you go out. So it was really, really terrible, and we make the line for the other behind. It was really, really, really bad.
Well, that says it all. If the most successful driver of all time can barely stay on the road, you know it must be tough. We're now looking at Evgeny Novikov, who of course is involved in that thrilling fight for third. Oh, not anymore, he's not. A massive hit, and another one. This could be the end of Evgeny's hopes of a Monte Carlo podium. He's going to try and continue. That was a heavy impact. Facing the wrong way, having to pull a quick three-point turn. No, that car is crabbing. Let's take another look. Touch too much speed into the corner, absolutely no traction. Big collision with the wall. He will try and continue, but I don't think he's going much further. We're hearing there's been a similar incident for Jari-Matti Latvala in here. It's a late frustration for VW2. Latvala's compatriot Juho Hänninen is suddenly on course to make up 2 places to 5th in here. Oof, but the carnage continues. After a week of relative calm, it's all gone crazy in one stage. Let's see Juho slip up again. Just drifts to the left and collides with that wall on the front left corner. That's 3 of our top 7 out in one dramatic stretch of road. Juho out of the car, and that is indeed game over for him as well. Wow, Mads Østberg is still in the running at least, and now with Hänninen joining the grand casualty list, M Sport's new #1 should now move into the top 5. This really is an incredible stage. Mads now on the downhill descent, clear of snow thankfully down here. Just take a look at the scenery in front of Østberg. His Fiesta at least has made it through, and a chance for Mads and the rest of us to draw breath.
I couldn't walk through that stage, I'm sure. And you try to do this with a tarmac setup with, okay, it's snow tires with studs, but yeah. I'm not allowed to swear on the radio, right? No. So yeah, it's good stage, nice and clean, and I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, a touch of irony from Mads there, and it is a much-changed leaderboard after the first stage of the day with the retirements of Novikov, Latvala and Hänninen. Sordo moves back up to 3rd, Hirvonen now 4th, and Mads Østberg up into the top 5. Well, it's soon a chance to get back up to the Turini, this time in the darkness with Sebastian Loeb leading them through. Could be the last time the world champion takes on this amazing stage. Østberg, meanwhile, has now taken over as the leading Ford driver after Novikov's late exit. Oh, but he's had a moment as well. That was a very similar incident to the ones we've seen before. Heavy collision, and already you can see he's in trouble, and a spin now as well. Is this yet another Turini casualty? I think Østberg, at least, will be able to continue, but he is steadily losing time. He's already been overtaken by Brian Bouffier in the stage, and now has Martin Prokop not far behind as well.
Mads makes it back to service in Monte Carlo, where his service crew are ready and get straight to work. The mechanics with just 30 minutes to repair his Ford Fiesta in time for the final 2 stages. Job done, Mads heads away again, but all the work turns out to be in vain as news comes through that the final stages are cancelled for safety reasons. Rally Monte Carlo is over then. A comfortable win for Sebastian Loeb, more than a minute and a half ahead of Sebastian Ogier, but a brilliant debut performance by the VW driver. Dani Sordo completes the podium. And the world champion can hit the bubbly earlier than expected.
It was Really a very difficult rally, really tricky. We had nearly every condition, from dry to ice with snow and wet conditions. So yeah, it was difficult to be at the end. We are at the end. We won. I'm happy also of the way it went, because we were dominating the rally since the start, and the feeling with the car and everything was really good. So I'm happy to win this one.
Celebrations too at Volkswagen. Despite Jari-Matti Latvala's retirement, VW with every reason to be happy after Sébastien Ogier's second place on the team's WRC debut.
Yeah, of course, it's really good surprise. Honestly, I had a lot of questions before the start. Last year was very long for me, very frustrating sometimes. We have done a lot of work, and it was not easy. And by the end of the year, I knew that the car was going in the right direction and that my feeling was better and better. But honestly, I didn't know about the performance, and I was really waiting for the first stage time. And obviously, the first one was perfect this weekend. But even after was also really good, and we were on a really good pace all the weekend. And it's really good news to know that the base of the car is good.
So here's the first championship table of the season. After the mayhem of Monte, Loeb's win sees him pick up a maximum 25 points, while Ogier's first drive in the VW Polo R nets him 18 points. Sordo takes 15 for third. And despite that late drama, Mads Ostberg can be satisfied with 6th and 8 points on his first Monte Carlo adventure. Moving on to the manufacturers, Loeb's win, along with Mika Hirvinen's 12 points for 4th, sees the Citroën senior team in a familiar position at the top, and they're in second. It's Volkswagen after an impressive start to life in the WRC. Back in Monte Carlo, it's another one for Sébastien Loeb's burgeoning trophy cabinet. Win number 77 for the Frenchman. He said he was here for a bit of fun, and he certainly enjoyed his 7th Rally Monte Carlo victory, as did we. And that's it, an action-packed start to the season. From Paul King and me, Kevin Piper, thanks for watching. We'll be back in a couple of weeks for Rally Sweden. Bye for now.